Canadian politics is boring, juicy bits.
Hello and welcome to Canadian Politics is Boring, Juicy Bits.
Juicy Bits!
This is the shorter version of our show where we do little reactions in the news and stuff.
Yeah, we haven't had a Juicy Bits in a little bit.
We haven't done a Juicy Bits because of Wufakak and everything, but now we're back with the Juicy Bits.
Our last Juicy Bits was Breakfast with Bernier, which was an hour long. The Juicy Bits are supposed to be like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that one. There was so much to talk about.
So much. It was my favorite episode
Maxine,
I've done in a long time.
Jesse snuck in undercover to a breakfast with Maxine Bernier. He spent $50 on breakfast.
And an okay breakfast.
For an okay breakfast. And then, if you haven't listened to it, go back. And he then reported on the insanity of that meeting.
It was actually insane. It was delightfully insane, I should say, as was everybody there. Delightfully insane.
So
I'd hang out with them again. They're great. Super fun.
Can you remember that we did a Juicy Bits about Richmond in Saskatchewan?
Remind me again.
Remember the Queen Romana of Canada, Romana DeLuo?
Oh my God! Yes. So the queen, the
QAnon queen.
The QAnon queen who took over an old school or gymnasium or something like that in a tiny, tiny town in Saskatchewan.
And her cult started living in the school.
And threatening death threats to the people who lived in that town.
Yes, threatening to execute the people in the town in Saskatchewan. She has been kicked out of the town.
Yay!
Richmond did it. When we were talking about it, we were like, how do they get rid of them? They weren't sure. They were beeping their horns and trying to blockade them to get them to leave.
I was saying that you should break in pretending to join their cult, right? And then just leave dead fish in all the vents. And
that would have done it.
That would have done it.
Yeah, or set it on fire.
Set the dead fish on fire?
No, the school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, because
setting
dead fish on fire would smell really nice.
It's a risky strategy, but they would have run away.
Right, yeah, exactly. So how did they succeed?
So
just from honking their horns?
So what happened was there was essentially the village sent the fire chief, a building inspector, and a bylaw officer to the school, but the extremist group would not let them enter. However, they quickly packed up their vehicles and left the school after the visit. So basically, they were like, hey, let's send some government officials in to say, are you using this building safely? Is this within the rules of the bylaws, and or do we need to shut this place down? They didn't even let them in, and then when they left, they all packed up and ran away.
For what? Just that's all it took. That's all it took. Was one person showing up and saying, "I'd like to inspect."
Someone
this,
with a clipboard.
Yeah, and they're like, "I'd like to inspect this building, please." And they're like, "No, thank you." And they're like, "Okay, whatever." And they
maybe
just
come
left.
Maybe come back tomorrow, or something.
And this terrified them so much
they ran away.
All ran away.
It's not very regal of the Queen,
right? Yeah, that's amazing.
They didn't even make a stand.
Did they go anywhere else?
So apparently they are now camped out on farmland about 11 kilometers east. I mean, this is slightly old, this news article, so who knows where they are. Somewhere in the prairies, looking for another vacant public building.
And it's a wintertime in the prairies. That sucks.
So there's a convoy of them. So they were using the school to live stream videos and post on Telegram, they were doing something irresponsible with a propane tank in the school, which is what kind of it said. They had a heater propped up on a propane tank. And the mayor had seen it in they'd been watching their videos, so they started watching the content that was going out.
Smart.
And then they were like, "Oh, there's a code violation." So they send the fire chief and the bylaw officer and
it's very clever.
Throw the book at them, and they ran away, which is really weird.
Very funny.
They didn't even make a stand. They didn't go, "Yeah, come and have a look." Okay, these are the 5 things you need to do to comply.
Right?
Rather than just do them, they go, "Oh, give it out."
Honestly, it's weird. No, seriously, you make a really good point because they brought in an inspector. The inspector's job is not to kick people out. The inspector's job is to inspect, and if there are things wrong, you have time to fix them.
It would have started a process.
Right, and that process, God knows how long that could take. There's plenty.
I've never known a bylaw inspector go, right, okay, let me in, and just so you know, if I find anything when we take a little walk around, I execute you on the spot, like Judge Dredd. It's never
Right?
happened.
Yeah.
Not in this country,
You know,
anyway.
oh, I see that you've got a heater that you're using with propane. You can't do that.
That's a bad idea. Can you just take that down off there for me so I can just tick the box and say it's not there and just don't do it anymore?
Right. Yeah. You know, like, but don't just this terrified them. They ran away. All right.
So the mayor of Richmond said right after they left, they were scurrying around like a bunch of little chickens or whatever, and they're going nuts actually, just hooking up RVs or the campers to the trailers. So they camped out 11. They camped out in the rural 11 kilometers east in the rural municipality of Fox Valley on unused farmland after being permission to stay there by the landowner. The Mayor Miller said that they're relieved to see them leave the village, but he's not celebrating much yet. I'm still thinking they might come back, and if they do, there'll be a letdown. But when I see them take off, when I did see them take off, we decided we'd have the biggest party ever.
Oh, cool.
Breathing a little bit easier.
With all 35 people in the village.
Yeah.
Yeah. The village of Richmond.
It gives you relief, but you don't know the feeling until you've lived with it. But they're still 7 miles away, and we're going to keep working, trying to push them. I don't care where they are or whatever. Just get them out of here. So Ricky,
change the locks on the doors this time.
Ricky Manns, the owner of the old Richmond school, who invited the cult to stay there, missed his court date for an assault charge, which is unrelated. I think I don't know if it's related or not. And yeah, so it's kind of it's a bit of a shit show for them, and a warrant is now out for his arrest. That was the guy who owned the school and said they could stay there. But there was 2 months detention, which we covered.
The guy, hold on, is he still living in Richmond?
I don't know, but they can't find him if he is.
Okay.
Maybe he's on the road.
Maybe he's on the road with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was he? I blanked out there for a second. What was he? What's the warrant for? What did he do?
Some assault.
Oh shit!
Hurt somebody.
Okay.
Yeah. And apparently they, as we said, they did send out threats of public execution to a lot of the people in the town that they were kind of commandeering.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is illegal, right?
It is. And this is a CBC article.
Couldn't they arrest them?
I don't know, but they do it to everyone. Like people who say bad things about them on the internet get like these.
No, but like if instead of sending like an inspector to inspect the building, send the police to arrest them.
Who sent this letter? Kind of thing. But this is a CBC article. So Dr. Christine Satechi, who's a professor of social work and criminology in Chatham House University in Pittsburgh, basically has been tracking the movements of the Canada Queen for years. Basically says, we don't know what they're capable of, but they are very active. So they're a community, like a cult, a mobile cult, driving across Canada, stopping places, taking over things.
I mean, like saying
Katie Jean implied that they were armed as well.
Armed? I mean, like, okay. I'm not concerned.
I'm just trying to scaremonger. One of them,
like have they done anything?
One of them hides behind trees.
Like the worst thing that they did was took over a school or gymnasium
and then threatened to execute the rest of the people in the town publicly.
Right, and that is pretty bad. But like, if that's the worst thing they've ever done, I'm not too scared about it.
If you move into a new neighborhood and you want to get to know your neighbors, don't do that.
Don't threaten.
Don't set them.
Execute them publicly.
Muffin basket. That's what I do. The threat of public execution doesn't work. Yeah,
these guys are all talk.
So,
well, cool. Is that that's an update for us?
So well done, Richmond. I'm so glad that you can enjoy Christmas without a cult threatening to kill you in your town.
If anybody here knows the mayor of Richmond or can get us in touch with them, we'll gladly have you on our show, and you can update us on the whole thing if you like.
Well done, rural small town, Richmond. We did a virtual walk around of your town. It's very beautiful.
It was really fun.
And congratulations on defeating just some weird shit.
Oh, we did have. Well, I did say that if you wanted us to do a Google Street View,
one did.
One person did.
One person did.
Yeah, I forget who it was and where we.
That's no use to me.
Next time we'll go get it.
Someone said they wanted us to tour their town.
Yeah,
somewhere. Let's do it. Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. This has been a short, juicy bits, and we'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Canadian politics is boring, juicy bits.